At the beginning of the movie, Navy SEAL Jack Silva lands in Benghazi to start a new job as a private military contractor employed to Global Response Staff, or GRS, to protect a secret CIA outpost. He is picked up by longtime friend and GRS team commander and former SEAL Tyrone Rone Woods.
Good to see you, brother.
As they drive, they catch up on the family and talk about the recent fall of Gaddafi. Jack doesn't think this new stint will pay off better than real estate, but Rone tells him Benghazi is worse, hot as hell, and the bad guys and good guys look alike. They get into the city where they run into a roadblock of heavily armed men who have just killed a civilian and are on edge. Rone radios to base, who plan to reach out to 17th February, the local brigade they coordinate with. Rone wants his own guys, but CIA Station Chief Bob refuses to send them out. The men's eyes soon fall on Jack and Rone, and they come over with their guns trained. The man in charge demands to inspect their vehicle, but Rone refuses. He aims his gun at one of the men, and Jack joins him, warning that a drone overhead has captured their faces and will blow their families apart if anything happens to them.
You see the drone? Your family. Gone.
The man eventually backs down, telling them to leave while they still can. They drive away, and Rone reveals he was bluffing. They get back to the outpost named the Annex, where Rone confronts Bob for sending his guys in, but Bob reminds him his job is to keep them out of trouble, not get them in it. The man leading the armed group known as Al-Sharia, but Bob tells him to put it in a memo reminding him he is not CIA. Jack then meets the rest of the GRS team, including former US Marines OZ and Tig, former Ranger Tanto, and former Marine Scout sniper Boon. Tig gives Jack a tour of the compound, which was a private family compound before the owner leased it to the CIA. He warns Jack to always stay on alert, as not all the local around them can be trusted. We then see some kids peeping through the perimeter walls before running back playfully to a group of men. Jack later meets Bob in his office. He doesn't see the need for GRS, as he thinks they won the revolution, and the people are now happy, but has no choice since the CIA orders it. His final warning to Jack is to stay out of the agent's way, as brilliant minds from the CIA are at work.
Best thing for you to do is stay out of their way.
The GRS team soon get their next mission, providing detail to undercover CIA officers Sona Jelani and Britt Vayner, who are meeting with a Libyan oil exec and his wife. Jack is the newest face, so he will be posing as Jelani's husband. The team then head out in a convoy of 2 cars. They arrive in town, where Jack joins the 2 agents for the meeting at a roadside restaurant. As they talk, Rone notices some local men watching them and talking on cell phones, so he begins to follow them, alerting Oz and Tig, who also follow. Rone follows the men and soon realizes they have been made, and something is about to go down, so he gets back to Jack, motioning to abort. Jack cuts the meeting abruptly and moves with Jelani and Vayner to the van. The agents complain about them messing up the meet until they realize they are in a high-speed chase with armed men on their tail. Jack readies his rifle and prepares to shoot, but the van ends up crashing and they get away. 5 weeks later, Jack is at the Annex catching up with his wife and 2 daughters when he gets call for team meeting. On video call is former SEAL and goo friend of Jack's, Glenn Doherty, who informs them that Ambassador Stevens will be flying into Benghazi, insisting on staying at a special compound as he cannot be operating out of a CIA base that officially doesn't exist. His security will be light, just 2 diplomatic security agents, so the GRS team will be in charge of transportation. The team head out, spotting the same guys from 5 weeks ago who were tailing them and snap photos, noting they are now just 2 blocks from the compound. They get to the special compound and meet the 2 DS agents Wicklund and Ubben and do a tour of the home, identifying the safe room. Outside, they learn that the DS agent just have small arms and will be assisted by the poorly armed and trained 17th of February militia. The mansion has been classified as a temporary diplomatic outpost and not an embassy, so their budget is way smaller. The GRS team is impressed, and Tanto lets them know they are poorly defended and would easily fall to a small force. They have no choice but to go along with the entire setup though. On Monday the 10th, the team are supposed to meet with some local arms dealer to buy weapons. Along with them is Amal, Paul, their local interpreter, and Boon and Oz on Overatch nearby. The arms dealers soon arrive and the air gets tense for a moment, but the Tanto manages to calm the dealer down and get the deal underway. The CIA is watching from a drone, and Jelani wants the dealers followed and their stash destroyed. Ambassador Stevens soon arrives and meets the GRS and CIA teams. Stevens is an idealist, ignoring the current tensions and claiming it's America's duty to help the people of Benghazi form a free Libya. During the speech, Tanto falls asleep, and afterwards Bob threatens to write him up for his disrespect, reminding him there are 10 guys waiting to take his place, but Tanto doesn't care about his threats.
No, there are 10 guys waiting to take your spot. It's the last chance, Tyrone.
The following day, Stevens has a low-profile meeting at the mayor's office, so the GRS is deployed on a support role. When they arrive, though, reporters are allowed to flood the building, putting the team on edge. The meeting goes smoothly, though, and they escort Stevens back to his compound, reminding him to remain on the compound as tomorrow is the anniversary of the 9/11 attacks.
The compound walls all day, given the 9/11 anniversary.
The team get back to base, where there is a note on T board advising their compound, and others may be attacked in the coming week. The following day, everything seems to be going well. Stevens, however, notices some men taking photos of his compound and alerts his security team. That evening, the team catch up with their families. Jack is talking with his wife when one of his daughters bursts out they are having a baby, and his wife breaks down in tears, overwhelmed. As the evening progresses, a large group of armed men gather, their attack planned, and their morale high, and soon begin marching through the streets their target, Stevens' compound. The local police stationed quickly disappear as they commence their attack. They quickly overrun the front gates, killing all the guards there. Wickland, Ubben, and 2 other DS agents sprint for their weapons, warning Stevens to put on his body armor. Their tech guy joins him, and they contact GRS team, who quickly grab their gear. Ubben is hiding, keeping an eyes out, while Wickland moves Stevens and their techie to the safe room. The GRS team is ready to go, and Rone quickly gives a pep talk. One foe, the DS agents, reaches out the US Embassy in Tripoli for help. Rone wants to move out right away, but Bob refuses to let them leave the compound. They don't have jurisdiction.
You're not the first responders. You will wait.
Plus, he thinks the ambassador is safe there, too stubborn to listen to Rone. The insurgents soon blow open the front door of the residence and come upon the safe room, the DS agent watching the cameras warning them not to make a sound. AS news breaks of the attack. The military plans to deploy air support while officials are shocked to learn about the secret CIA base. The insurgents try breaking into the safe room, but that doesn't work and the men retreat for a moment. Rone goes back to Bob, reminding him they are losing the initiative to help, but Bob still insists in letting 17 February handle it. Meanwhile, the team is geared up and ready to go, wondering what the holdup is. The insurgents have not left, but go to grab gas cans, planning to burn the men out of the safe room. Wickland, Stevens, and their tech guy move into the bathroom, but soon thick smoke begins pouring under the door. Meanwhile, Doherty is responding with his own team. 20 minutes later, the GRS team is still being held up by Bob, the DS agents begging for help. Jack asks him to consider what their next target will be after the comp pun falls. Rone has had enough and orders the team to move out. They get close to the compound when they run into a group of armed men, not sure if they're 17th February. They send a mall to check them out, but they soon come under attack from the insurgents. They manages to clear the barricade and continue on foot, still taking fire from the insurgents positoned around the compound. So OZ and Tanto go to set up sniper positions to prov to cover. They begin engaging the men, clearing the way enough to continue pushing towards the compound, while Boon and Tanto enter and clear a building overlooking the compound, but realize they have no vantage point of the compound. Jack, Rone, and Tig continue pushing forward with some 17 February fighters. They come under fire from a machine gun, pinning the team down, but one precise grenade shot from Tig destroys it. They finally get onto the compound where they meet Wickland and Ubben at the front doors, unable to find Stevens or their IT guy. Jack and Rone try entering, but the heat is too intense and they know Noon could survive that. Boon and Tanto get to the back gate, passing a group men standing at the cafe and learn they are not friendlies, so Tanto tells the guys to watch his back. A 17 February commander arrives, but the man ends up calling the attackers attackers, saying maybe they could negotiate a surrender, leaving Tanto confused. Isnade, Jack, and Rone make another push inside, braving the flames, and manage to find the IT guy, but he is already dead. By this time, the compound is flooded with local men with guns and 17 February fighters indistinguishable from their enemies. A few minutes to 11, Amal alerts everyone that the attackers are regrouping. The GRS team regroup inside the surveillance room to gather hardware, wondering why the attackers would leave so fast if they had control. Outside, they realize the back gate is left wide open. Just then, a rocket launcher is fired under the compound and the new wave of attack begins. They hand the hardware over the DS agents, and Jack warns a disoriented Wicklund to drive left as the bad guys are to the right. Wicklund takes off and immediately starts heading the wrong way. The GRS team is forced to retreat and take cover next to the buildings, trying to hold back the flood of fighters. Rone knows the annex will be next, so they head for the vehicles and speed back to base. Wicklund drives the group right into a roadblock. The men demand that they pull into a yard, then suddenly open fire on the car. The speed off, bullets ricocheting off the bullet per-off frame. Fighters seem to be coming from everywhere, but they push through the crowd. Cars start chasing after them, but they manage to stay ahead of the men, barely avoiding an RPG. Jack and the guys are heading back to the annex, trying to be discreet. A car starts following them, so they alert Bob, who starts clearing out. Wicklund arrives at the annex just a few minutes before the GRS team pull in. Bob comes out asking for the ambassador, but Rone tells him nobody could survive. He wants to order an evacuation and head to the airport, but Rone tells him that would be foolish. He tries to pull rank, but Rone tells him he's giving the orders now. They have 6 hours until dawn and everyone knows where they are, but Rone plans to unleash hell on anyone who turns up. Despite the warning, Bibb advises his CIA team to finalize destroying documents as he planned to evacuate within 40 minutes. While the CIA are holed up inside the room, the GRS team is preparing for war. They quickly take up positions on top of the buildings on the compound. A few minutes later, a local man turns up at the gates warning the team to shut off their floodlights as the attackers will find them, but Tig thinks it's too late and tells them to shut off only the interior lights. Soon a convoy of cars arrive and the Libyan security guards all run away. Men begin creeping through the thick bushes surrounding the property. The GRS team already have eyes on them and are itching to get started. The fight kicks off with an explosion, then the gunfire erupts from both sides, but the GRS team plus DS agents are dropping attackers who start targeting the floodlights. Oz takes a round to the helmet while Tig gets hit on his armor, but they manage to kill most of the men and push the rest back. Rone warns Ubben to slow it down, but he cannot. The loss of the Amsador is on his head, so he is in this fight all night. Glenn lands at the Benghazi airport but is being held up as the Libyan army officials argue among themselves over payment. Rone sits with Bob. Glenn's team is stuck at the airport and the US government refused to intervene despite having drone feed of the compound. He learns a crowd of Libyans Jaysut brought an American male to the hospital suspected to be Stevens, but Rone warns it could be an ambush. Jelani brings Snacka DN drinks to Oz. He asks about a gunship or a flyover by some F-16s, but she is unable to get anything authorized.
Brought you candy bars and some drinks.
Settle for a few F-16s.
Amal brings water to Tanto and Boon. All his family have evacuated, so they suggest he leave too, but Amal plans to stick it out with the team. Jack regroups with the team when he spots a busload of fighters pull up a distance off and run to take up positions. They spot around 30 or more fighters steadily closing in around the compound. A car then drives straight for the compound. A guy jumps out, throw a grenade, but gets sniped. 2 RPGs hit the compound, but the guys dig in and return fire. The fighters try flanking the team from the ground and buildings, but the guys are on them. Men in the bus start preparing a large ordnance, so they concentrate fire there, causing a massive explosion. The fighter retreat, taking more losses along the way. Jelani gets through to an airbase in Italy, requesting just to fly over to scare off the men or they will all die.
I am not requesting firepower. All out.
Fuck you, flyover.
Jack and Rone talk. He wonders what keeps drawing him away from his family and back to the battlefield, but Rone reminds him he is a warrior. Jack reveals his wife is pregnant, and tonight is making him consider his entire life, as he wants to be alive for his family. Bob then radios with good and bad news. Glenn's team is on their way, and the person they found at the villa was confirmed to be Stevens, but he was found dead. Boon thinks they could have saved him if they had left when they got the call. Tanto can feel the next wave will be worse. Suspecting it what will be a direct confrontation on the ground. A few minutes before sunrise, Glenn and his men are lost until Tanto uses the laser from his rifle to pinpoint their location. He soon arrives and reunites with the guys. There are too many people here to exfil, so they need to hold the fort down for a few more hours. The Libyan army and police cars suddenly peel off from the gate. The insurgents then begin to attack the base with mortar rounds and RPGs. Ubin is first to be hit in the blast, then a round lasts right next to Oz, before Rone can get to him. 2 more mortar rounds make direct hit with the rooftop, instantly kills Rone and Glenn, and leaving OZ severely wounded. Everyone then scrambles to take care of the wounded. Tanto and Boon are keeping watch when they see about 50 vehicles heading towards the compound. They think it's over for them at this point. Tanto takes aim at the truck, refusing to give up until it ends. The men don't fire, so he flashes a friendly sign at the men, who flash the sign back, and Tanto laughs and cries, reporting that they are okay. They are finally able to evacuate the CIA employees. Bob, however, stubbornly decides to stay behind, claiming he has intel to collect, but Jack isn't willing to sacrifice any more men to save him and orders him into the car. At the airport, the CIA staff and the wounded Geist board the plane to Tripoli, while the remainder of the GRS team awaits the next plane with the bodies of Stevens, Smith, Woods, and Doherty. Closing titles revealed that all of the surviving Annex security team members received contractor medals in a private ceremony and have since retired from the GRS team and live with their families.